Because Marty's a dick.
Woo! I think we've talked to. I think everybody knows that. Have established that. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not Mr. Nice Guy. But
Okay, dick is a strong choice of words.
ain't it though? Ain't it though?
It was just probably the worst day to send that to me because I was dealing with some other things in life where I was having to flex around other people's schedules, and then you were just like the I want to say cherry, but you're not quite that bright.
I think I'm the cherry on top of a big scoop of ice cream and whipped cream.
Jeez.
The cherry on top.
Rocky
baby.
Road ice cream.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was like, man, wrong day, dude.
So here we are, Saturday recording, guys, and welcome to Talk Hard
Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to the world's best podcast in the world.
Where today we're going to talk about.
What are we going to... Oh. What are we going to talk about?
Okay, so we're going to talk about Will Smith, and here's why we're going to talk about Will Smith. We're going to talk about it because I don't want to talk about it.
Who?
Will Smith.
Who? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yep. You got one little fight.
My mom got scared.
That was like the meme of all. Here it is.
I don't know what's going on. I just see a bunch of memes flying around.
Here's what kind of irritates me about it. We went to, some place in the world went to war.
Did they,
Russia and Ukraine.
Did they, though?
They went to war.
I'm such a conspiracy theorist. I know it.
I only believe this because my wife has clients who were adopting somebody in the Ukraine, and they have actually spoken to this young lady, and she is trying to get out.
You got firsthand. Gotcha.
We have it is happening.
Gotcha.
The level at which it's happening is a variable. It's just everybody experiences things differently. We've talked about that. I mean,
and then we got the narratives too, right?
But that happened, and I didn't find out about it for like 3 or 4 days.
That's how in tune we are with stuff.
Well, here's the thing: social media still exists on the same platform.
Yeah.
Will Smith slapped somebody, and by 6 o'clock in the morning, I knew about it.
It's oh my god! I watched the video like repeatedly and then again I saw all the memes and I even posted a cat meme.
I don't even know there was an award show going on until that happened.
I don't think anybody did. The only people that knew the Oscars were going on were the people that were in the audience.
So crazy. But anyways, yeah. So go ahead.
Well, I don't really have
videos.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion or any. But I did watch it and I'm sorry to say, they said Will Smith bitch slapped him, but I say Will Smith slaps like a bitch. I'm sorry. What? I mean,
well, okay. So
am I
here's
the only
my thing.
one?
People jump on social media and they play this whole like. It is interesting to me that of what I've realized. Let me frame this in the best way that I can. Think of.
You better be careful.
What I have realized when that happened is that. Primarily Americans, because those are most of my friends, so that's who I'm going to blame, because I don't have a bunch of friends in other countries, will literally fight about anything on Facebook. We are literally getting into arguments about whether or not it happened, about whether or not it was real, about whether or not he should have been able to get away with it, about whether or not he should have... Who cares?
Seriously though, like I don't know about you, and I can speak for you, and probably Chris Cobb over there in the corner, corner off the Cobb. Like we got real life shit going on.
Yeah. Somebody's like, "Did you hear the Will?" I'm like, I heard it, and do I care? Nope, not even a little bit. I was so forced to watch the interaction because it was literally all over everything. I couldn't turn on the radio. It was on the TV. It was like, what are we actually talking about? Because I could go down the street, slap someone, and it wouldn't even make the local anything. You probably would never know about it. And I mean, I could straight up knock someone to the ground, split their head open, and I highly doubt more than 4 people would hear about it.
The police officers would probably hear about it.
That's probably the only 4 people.
Yeah.
Would be the police that are looking for me.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Man, it's just... and I foresee it, and again, I go back to I'm a conspiracy person. I don't call me a theorist because that would imply that it's probably not true or that it's based on some fictitious mindset. But it's just, for me, it's a what news does and what social media does and the big boob tube on the television does is it finds things. There's always something happening, right? There's always an incident, a circumstance, a tragic thing, and it only, like, it's all about the narrative. Like, it for me, it is a distraction of what's going on. Like, okay, America's stupid, and America will just dive right into this like they did. All we got to do is post a picture or, make a video of Will Smith slapping Chris, whatever. And everybody's mind will be off the Ukraine stuff. Everybody's mind will be off COVID. And everybody's mind will be off the person in charge of the United States. And
so I'm going to say that he may slap like a bitch, but his slap has more power.
Oh my God,
than a war does.
You are absolutely true about that. Absolutely,
that's pretty crazy to me.
Did you see it though? Did you see his wife? Look,
okay.
He literally laughed at it at first.
Here, let me break down what happened in my head psychologically as I was analyzing.
He thought it was funny.
He legitimately laughed. Now, for me personally, I can't speak for everybody, but what I know is your typical instant reaction is your real reaction because it comes from the unconscious, it's uncontrolled, it's your actual feeling.
Right?
Because
it was funny.
So, again, you were talking about a comedian.
That's his job.
Who cracked a joke.
That's his job.
There's also a good chance that he didn't write that joke.
Well,
that's what people don't understand is that people write these jokes for them a lot of the times.
Yeah, most of the times, yeah.
And they don't even really know much about it because it comes from the most real place when they're teleprompting it. That way they can not have to rehearse it and it's more genuine. So there's all these, that's the thing. It's there's all these variables. And my whole point is, if we're going to talk about it, since I feel like we have to because it'll be good for our viewer traffic, which is fun, because I'm going to jump in on the party now, because screw it, because I'll tell you how this works.
We are part of the debacle.
On some level, this is a business, just like anything else. Not at all. If you can't beat him, join him, right?
And we can't beat Will Smith.
Can't beat him, join him. So the media and how it works is, we've explained this before, it's clickbait, it's ad revenue.
Sure.
The more people, they've got this meter that shows how many people are watching, the more money they're getting paid for the commercials during that time.
Yeah.
Just like why you got to pay $2 million for a commercial during Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It is the most expensive place to place an ad ever.
Right.
Because of the amount of viewers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they know that this happened, and they're not getting enough viewers from the war going on. They're not getting enough viewers because everybody's over COVID. So Will Smith slapped somebody, and now this is what we're going to jump on because we know you're all going to watch it, and we're going to get our money from you watching it. So thank you. This should help some of our click rate, and we'll put a nice Will Smith title in it. And
put a picture. Can you superimpose a picture of Brian slapping Will Smith, please?
Yes. Now, here's the things. First...
well, hold on. Let's talk about the scenario, though. He laughed.
Okay, so he laughed, and then here's my thing. Will Smith's got a bunch of motivational videos. I went back and actually watched all this stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking about all these things and how to be a man and how to handle life and all these things, and he has dealt with for the majority of his career being judged on some level.
Yeah, sure.
Right? This should not change anything. If you, as an actor, want to become public about your situation, she has alopecia, right?
She has alopecia, and don't they have a quote unquote open relationship or something?
Well, that's still, they're claiming no, that is, again.
They came open with it or some
right,
shit,
so
right? Or she cheated or something.
If you tell the world you have alopecia and you expect no one to ever joke about it as a public figure,
right.
You are out of your mind.
Right.
You have to expect that on some level. Now, as a man myself, if that would have happened, I would have gotten up, grabbed anything that I could get on a speaker with, and just made him apologize to my wife. Or I was going to slap the shit out of you.
Well, you know, right? even watching
you can handle it in a better way that makes you look like the right man. I'm going to give you an opportunity to do the right thing and apologize, or something's going to happen. I'm not going to go up there and look like a punk and slap you.
Well, I didn't think
then not much happens after I slap you. No,
hold on,
he's 6'2", 180 pounds.
Yeah, come on, Chris Rock.
Chris Rock's like 5'9", 5'10", and he barely moved.
Well, here's the thing, too. I don't feel like the slap was all that. Because I'm just putting myself in that audience. Like, that was awkward.
For sure.
That was so awkward for Chris and for the entire audience. I've seen posts of everybody's face when it actually happened, you know? But it was so awkward. But the thing of it, what really, like, sealed the deal for me was, like, when he went back to his seat and then he started yelling.
Keep loud.
Keep my wife's name out effing out your mouth. Yep. Like, what is that? That seemed like it. I mean, if he just went up there and smacked him, walked back and had a seat, I would have had more okayness with it, I guess. Like, okay, you did
the continuing of the drama.
I don't know. Like, yelling that at the Oscars, like, that's a formal event. That's a black suit, you know. It's a black
even on another
event.
level, you could have waited, and it to me it was just ironic because then he gets the award and his speech just so happened to match up with talk about being that kind of a father. The person he just portrayed was that kind of a father, was the way he put it, right? And I'm like, this is coincidental. I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon, but it was just funny to me more than anything, the reaction from so many people that are like, social media is dangerous and we all should be careful about what we do. And then those same people jump inside this bandwagon and start jumping in on the trash talk.
Well, the thing about it is like this whole world and the trending thing in this world is like violence is never the answer. You know, that's this whole mindset of this new generation to keep it PG and to keep it, you know, good for people not to get too mad at me. But this new generation of these progressive thinkers, if you will, you know, violence is never the answer, and you know, we gotta love each other, and we gotta all this stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I agree with that. Violence is not never the answer, because like I said, I come from a place in my neighborhood where you talked out of your pocket, you got punched in the mouth.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's good.
However,
that has to happen in life.
However, if you were walking down the street with your mom and you popped off to me, I wouldn't do it in front of your mother.
Right.
I would have found you later.
That's respect.
Right?
I'm
not going to make your mom watch that happen to her child.
Yeah.
Because that's a different level. Like, there was still like a code.
Yeah.
You know, no women, no children. You don't do things around people that don't need to see it.
Yes.
But if you two are just being
I'm a man.
In the
it's
streets,
going to be me and you.
We'll deal with it.
It's just like getting in a fight in a bar. Like,
But I also didn't call the cops after I got knocked out.
No, and that's the thing too. And
I've been knocked on my ass.
That's the thing about this new generation is like, you offended me. You struck me. You gotta, you know, you're gonna.
Right.
Come on, man. Like, if I was I see a huge problem with this in America today. Like, kids need to fight. I mean, kids need to fight, man. I mean, I remember getting picked on as a little kid. Like, I got picked on.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, they do.
Yeah.
The most liberating thing that ever happened to me, where it changed my entire life. When in 6th grade, I got picked on because I was the poor kid. My parents were, you know, did their thing. They were living a lifestyle of you know, I didn't fit into the Joneses across the street. You know what I mean? So I was that kid, and, you know, and I got picked on, and I got made fun of, and I somewhat got bullied. I hate using that word, but if we're going to put it in terminology, that's what happened.
Right.
Well, I went home one day, and my dad got sick of it. Right? He got sick of me going home, upset. The kid picked on me. I think he might have even pushed me down that day, and like 12 kids were laughing at me. And, you know, I was upset. I went home, and my dad threw my ass in the truck, drove over to that house with the parents, knocked on the door. He said, "Your son, my son are going out back right now, and they're gonna do their thing.
We're gonna fix it.
This is gonna be the end of it." We went out back, and I was so scared. Right, I was so nervous, but I mean, I won. I whooped the kid's butt. Like, I won, and that was the most liberating experience of my life. I knew in that moment I never needed to be picked on, bullied, made to feel less than anybody else, and that moment changed my life. That's why I say kids need that. I needed to get beat up. I needed to win a fight now and again.
Here's why I think it needs to happen, because whether anybody wants to admit it or not, the world is going to kick you in the face someday. Yes. It may be metaphorically, but it still feels the same inside, right? Like a broken nose will heal. My pride takes a little more time, right? So it's still going to happen. So when you try to shelter these kids and act like violence isn't the answer, we're not teaching them to go be violent. We're teaching them to deal with the situation as it really is. And if you're being bullied, then I'm going to hit you because you're pushing me to a point where I'm wanting to hit you.
Well, I tell you what, I never got bullied again from that moment on.
Right.
Never. I had a sense of confidence. I had a sense of self-worth.
Now, are you roaming the street beating people up today?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. But I didn't. I hurt no one, and I took no shit. You know what I mean? And it's that sense of confidence. Like, holy crap, I don't have to feel like this anymore. I can do something about it. And and nobody got hurt. Nobody went to jail. Nobody went to the hospital. It was two boys fighting in the backyard of the kids' parents, and it was, you know what I mean? He got knocked down, got on top of him, a couple hits, got broke up, and we had to shake hands afterwards. Mm-hmm. We had to shake hands afterwards. Now, me and him didn't become best friends or anything, but there was a level mutual respect. There was a level of respect there.
Absolutely.
You know? And I think we've steered away from that because we're so sheltering and so protecting us. And, oh, little Johnny, don't do that. No. Hey.
People think that if we eliminate the source of what they call the problem, that solves the problem, as though everybody in the world is all of a sudden going to conform to that. Yeah. As long as we make this illegal and all these things. Look, drugs have been illegal forever. Has it done anything?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing. Not a damn thing. Made it worse.
Right?
That's why I've talked about in
weed used to be a massive problem. It's now legal and you hardly hear about it.
Well, that's the thing. I've talked about that many times, and people might think just, crash me on this one because I've talked about how I think drugs should be legal. Like, it should be legal. And I've went into a whole spill with that on a previous episode about how I feel like, prohibition doesn't... I mean, if you really look at prohibition and making what it did to alcohol, it didn't stop people from drinking. Just like making anything illegal, it's not going to stop people. It's just going to make people do it in ways that conform, illegally. It's going to happen. It's going to do things like, okay, so they made alcohol illegal in the United States during Prohibition. They stopped producing it. Well, people made alcohol, just like with anything else. They're going to find ways and means to get what they need and what they want. And they made alcohol, and it was, people were dying from drinking bathtub gin. Like, it's, because it wasn't made
to resist as human beings. This is why a lot of parents have problems with their kid, is because they're trying to control, and psychologically as children, we're wired to resist certain things. We're wired to question. We're wired to resist. We're wired to rebel. Life is about balance, right? If you take away one side of it, you've lost balance. It's just not possible, right? Where for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I mean, this is physics. This is science. You can't take violence away from the world. The better way to attack it, in my opinion, is to find a constructive way to approach it, like what our parents did.
Yeah.
People may hate us for it, but my dad did the same thing.
Right.
Get out here. You guys are going to finish this. I'm going to make sure my insurance, you're going to do it on my lawn, so my insurance covers any broken bones. And you guys are going to get over this.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of dealing with it. Because if not, there's going to be a bunch of other frustration that gets bent up. And then people are shooting people.
Well, and that's what happened.
Because there's no balance in it.
And that's
you can't act like it's just going to go away. That's what we did as drug addicts. Well, if I was like, do the drugs and the problems go away. That's not how it works. You can't get rid of problems. You have to deal with problems. And I'm not saying violence is the answer to everything.
No, it's definitely not.
Again, and there's two sides to every coin.
And people are going to flip this in so many different directions.
1,000%.
And I'm not saying violence in the form of just beating people up or gun violence or killing people or robbing people or hurting people in those types of ways. And like, hurting people is never, but getting into a fight as a young man or a young woman, dude, it's part of it's part of life. And I don't know where I'd be if I had, like, if I would have continued and never stood up to that kid. Hard telling where it would have took me. You know, I would have continued to get bullied. I would have continued to have self-worth problems and issues and all these different things. But it solved it. Like, literally, that one moment changed my entire life. And I think there's so many scenarios like that, you know?
So they were talking about this. I was hearing different other media companies jump in on this whole Will Smith thing, and they were talking about now it's turned into the entitlement of actors and the entitlement of money.
Well, he never went to jail.
So which I think, I find it funny. Like, now it's a privilege to be an actor. Like, where does the privilege word lose its value? Because now that's the privilege? No, it just is what it is. I don't believe he has special privileges. Unfortunately, I feel like it's actually worse for people. Just because he didn't go to jail doesn't mean he has special privileges. It just, now he's resigned from a certain awards academy, whatever that membership is, and people will never forget that moment. Mm-hmm. That's not a privilege.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to jail and it be over with than live with that forever. That will not go away. Now, it'll die down like everything does.
Yeah.
But people will always, on some level, remember the day that Will Smith smacked Chris Rock.
Well, then they're also like going back now and just trying to find every little piece of something that he did, like, out of pocket too, you know, and then trying to publicize that. You know, every little thing that he did out of pocket, you know, when he was crying and crap on TV and bawling, you know, talking about his feelings and whatnot. And, you know, they're just trying to find everything that they can now.
So
know?
When does that stop? Like, I've noticed that too. And we may have touched base on this before. At this point, we've talked about so many things. It's fun. But when does what you did in that moment become okay to just be in that moment? Meaning, we dig into people's past, and it's typically the people that are the progressives, right? We're all about the future and making the future better, and then I'm going to dig 10 years into your past, and I'm going to destroy you for that. And that makes no sense to me, because in that time and in that moment, and most of the people that dig that far back were not even alive, so they don't get it, right? They only know they're now, and so they're going back acting like it was the same then, and it wasn't. And now you are being canceled and all these things are happening. But in that moment, that was considered something that was okay. Since then, that person has changed and is no longer doing that. So why don't you celebrate the progression of that person rather than go back and cancel them because of something they did in that moment? Again, we're digging into the past. We're not moving forward, but we're progressive. What?
Yeah.
Hypocrisy at its maybe finest, I don't really get it.
No,
I could be confused.
There's so many ways in which we don't get it because we're just not in that mindset.
And that's part of the problem I've been having on social media lately. And I use the word problem, and that's probably too serious of a word because it's not that big of a deal. But people are bitching about gas prices. Oh, you should be blessed to live here. So then that makes all these people look at me. I'm so blessed to fill up my. Now those are the same people that are bitching about the fact that I called you the wrong pronoun. So you can bitch about me using the wrong pronoun, but I can't bitch about gas prices. That's affecting my life.
What pisses me off is I saw some videos the other day. The guy on TikTok making videos, and he was at a college campus, I think in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, or something. And he was like, so basically asked him, what do you think about what does it mean to be an American? And like all these people were like, I hate America. America sucks. I think America should burn down. I'm just like, if I was said person making a video, I would have real trouble not beating that person up.
I would just say you don't know what it's like until you've been to another country. And most of these people haven't left the U.S. So
it's still though, like you're a college student, and what I'm guessing is they're indoctrinated by the professors and the school itself. And I feel like this is happening all over the country, as far as grade school all the way through college. But it doesn't matter if you haven't been to another country. I've barely been to Mexico, but I also know what it's like in other countries. Well, I don't have to have actually experienced Africa or the Middle East or Australia to not know what it's like there versus here. I mean, that's just stupid. That's not even ignorant. That's stupid. Like, how do you say America? Like, well, we don't have freedom. Are you shitting me?
Well, we're talking about people that, again, my mom said to me years ago, you can't expect everybody to think the way you do.
Right.
And
right.
I've had the conversation recently with my wife. She's like, I just don't think the way you do. And it's tough in the moment to understand that. But it's reality, right? So again, I try to be empathetic for everybody because again, where they're at and how the direction they're being steered in is not being intentionally led by them. Typically, it's their parents want them to go to, you know what I mean? Like they're led by others. They end up in this situation. The way we live our lives is we run off of what we believe to be true. And when you trust your parents and the people around you to put you in a situation that you believe to be true, we're now left with this same situation.
And again, I'm saying that's stupid.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm saying that's stupid. If you're so far one direction or the other and you see nothing on the other side and you live in a country where, you know, freedom is the number one thing that we have here, you know, and yes, there are powers to be trying to take that freedom and trying to take our sovereignties and trying to make this a socialist country. Yes, and the fact that some people think socialism is freedom and socialism is a good thing, and you know, and it's mind-boggling to me to think that you're an educated college student. You've made it through however many years of schooling, grade school, high school, some years of college, and you can't have any kind of wisdom to see the stuff that you're saying is completely stupid.
Well, again, let me challenge you a little bit. Most of these people didn't even start going to school until we had left school.
True.
So we're talking about a completely different education system, right? Some of these people weren't even born until we were out of school.
Okay.
Right?
Anyway.
Like we forget how old we are sometimes. And sometimes it's difficult to navigate through that. And I'm not making an excuse for it. Here's my thought process if you want to go conspiracy theory with it, that I believe it's in the book The Art of War.
Okay.
There's a quote in there that says the best way to win a war is to never have to fight in it. And I believe on some level that is a bigger plan that has been happening for a long time, because you can win a lot of battles or you can lose a lot of battles. But the way to win the war is a much bigger picture and takes years. So how do you destroy a country? From within. You will never be able to bring a war to America because we are way too protected. We have way too much value here. It's just our military, period. Like, no one will ever let people come over here and bomb us the way they do in Russia because of just our military in general. And we bring too much financial value to too many other countries, period. So they won't do that. But how do you take control of that country? From within.
Well, you do that, and it's just like the frog in water concept. Like, how do you put a frog? You got a boiling pot of water, right? And you put the frog and you drop it in the boiling pot. What's he gonna do? He's gonna jump out. He's gonna jump out. You put the frog in the water that isn't boiling, and you slowly turn the heat up. He'll stay in there till he's dead. You know, and that's kind of the concept of what's happening in America today. And I love America. I love this country.
I love America. Again, what I'm seeing is we got so many people that are willing to bitch about things and then do nothing about it.
Yeah.
So I only bitch about what I can control about. So the gas prices is like, yeah, it affects my life, but how I can't join in on that fight because again, Russia sends us about. I voted
too, but you know, so. All the people that are, you know, my only hope is that it corrects itself, and it will, you know.
That's what I'm saying. I have faith in, personally, God, and that there's a bigger picture. That's just my personal belief. I call him God. You can call him he, she, them, they, whatever you want. I call him God. That's just where I stand. I don't care what you call him. If your goal is to be a better person, I don't care if you worship a skateboard. I really could care less. Like, it doesn't matter to me. If your goal is to be a better person, that's all I care about. But sticking to just like, what are we fighting about? And why are we fighting with each other? Like, that is the biggest thing that I see.
How do you
anymore.
take over a nation? Divide and conquer, right? And and I said this a million times. Our number one enemy of this country is that news right on the boob tube, right there. That's our number one enemy.
Yeah, but they could kill cable and people would still
I don't
jump
know.
on social media.
I don't know. Because, a lot of the information comes from cable and then it gets put on social media. But anyway, back to the Will Smith thing. I don't know, man. So we're diving off into some other stuff here. Will Smith, you're still the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to me. Chris Rock, you should have hit him back. I'm just saying, like,
You can't define.
I feel like you could have took him.
You can't define
You could
a
have took
man.
off running and jumped on his back like a little spider monkey. And yay!
You can't define a man by a moment in his life.
I agree with
That's
that.
just the reality of it. It doesn't change who he is, who he always has been, and who he will continue to be. He had a moment. You can call it a moment of weakness. You can call it a moment of strength. You can call it whatever you want. It was a moment in time.
I think he had a moment where he was just being Will Smith, and then he looked at his wife, and he saw that.
And he went, oh, shit, I shouldn't have laughed. Now I have to do something about
He
it. Because my reaction was, I just take it as a joke. She clearly didn't. Now I need to
And
go.
now she's looking at him with the evil eye. Like,
or
are
a
you
million
going to
other variables,
Are you
right?
going to do something about that? Anyway. Love y'all. Have a good day.
All right.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Like, subscribe, listen, give us ideas because Marty's going crazy.
Oh!